Hey, this is Notser, and today we're going to be talking about Season 14 rank. I just recently reached rank 1, actually, in this game. This is my Tier 10 American Battleship, Montana. I love it. Got me so many wins, and honestly, I just farmed so much damage. It's a real beast if you know exactly how to play it. My build is on the screen. Hopefully you enjoy the game. But I want to talk about this season's adjusted rules, how they affected my play in rank, whether it was better or worse, and any closing statements. Now, this season is still going on, and it will be going until December 23rd. It will shut down in the morning, so basically the 22nd. You need to play your last games in rank unless you're some weird night owl. Gosh, what a weirdo. I'm a night owl. And yeah, on the 23rd, they will switch over to a rank sprint, 1 versus 1, tier 8. And I can't wait for that. I think that's very fascinating gameplay. It's a great way to improve your 1 versus 1, which I think a lot of players could really stand to improve. But this rank season, this is more of a pure rank season. This has all of the classes enabled for the first time in I think 9 months. The aircraft carrier was one of them. It also had a limitation on the number of battleships that could be in each game, 3 to be precise. And they boosted the number of players to 8 versus 8. All 3 of these changes are massive, and I'm going to talk through each one. So the aircraft carrier re-inclusion is a big deal, because the last time we played with them, it was a reworked version that was completely overpowered in favor of the carrier. The carrier could literally save his star every single game. He didn't have to do anything else other than farm damage, and he would never lose a star. No one else on his team would ever have a chance. And it was one of those worst season that could have possibly happened. It's along the same lines as the smoke meta season, where there was no bloom effect when you're in smoke. Great big battleships would just camp in smoke and fire forever, and it would just be like 3, 4, 4 rotations. It was an awful season. But that CV rework season was really bad. And the fear, of course, is when they re-include them, are they going to be balanced? Are they going to, ruin the gameplay for other players? And the bigger question is, can they be included in clan battles after some of this competitive comparison? Because rank play is the highest competitive bracket that you can play at outside of clan battles. The next logical step is that they would take any of the implemented rule changes from rank and apply them over to clan. So the CV changes included the priority sector adjustment, which buffed sort of the AA mechanic. Obviously, they kind of nerfed advanced firing training and massive AA fire. But for a lot of ships, aircraft are not the be-all, end-all, overpowered, broken crap. They really are only very annoying against DDs in rank play that I have found. I played all of the classes. I was not impressed with the CV at all. Because along with the CV being allowed to participate for the first time in like 9 months, they also nerfed the crap out of their XP gain. And the reason they did this was because of the Save the Star. It was so easy for the aircraft carriers to save their star from safety that became the de facto strategy during that season. This season, from my point of view, completely different. I saw aircraft carriers just struggling to barely break even with their XP. It was not the guaranteed Save the Star class that it was previously in rank. It became, I'm just happy to be along for the ride, especially on North America. It is a aircraft carrier wasteland compared to all the other servers. I probably played against a grand total of 10 CVs in 140 games. I mean, it was very limited in their influence on the North American server. And honestly, I think that's the best design for them. I don't think that they should be 2, 3, 4 deep. Well, 4 deep, but they shouldn't be 3 deep in games. It should be only one carrier you have to fight against, because that one carrier can do so much for their team just from spotting and finishing off targets. It's really overwhelming to have 2 or 3 of them attack you constantly. Obviously, since it's rank play, you don't have to deal with that. But it feeds into this whole design. Like, we need to move the carrier forward just a little bit more. I think it's really fair against battleships. I think it's fair against cruisers. I think it's pretty fair against enemy aircraft carriers. The one class that I don't think it's fair is the relationship between the CV and the DDs. The CVs, ooh, look at this. Leroy Jenkins, perfectly broadside. Please knock this guy out. Oh, yes. See you later, Leroy. So yeah, the CV itself, not very impactful in Season 14 rank, but against the DD, still just infuriating to fight. I was playing the Kleber, the Monty, and the Thunderer primarily this season. Very successful on all those. And whenever I would be in a DD and it was a CV game, I pretty much was just shadowed the entire time. I do stream this live, and I try and hide it, but you choose between a delay and or covering the minimap. I chose to cover the minimap, but every time I was in a game, the CV would look for me regardless of whether he was stream sniping or just looking to counter a DD. And man, every single time I was in a CV game as a DD, I felt like, man, there's a target on my back. I know he's going to come for me. And sure enough, pretty much every game with a CV, and when I was in my Kleber, or a DD equivalent, I would just be hounded the entire time. And it wouldn't kill me. It wouldn't kill me. I mean, it's not like that. It's not that hard. They don't do that much damage. But what they do end up doing, especially in competitive, where it's basically 1 versus 1, is they deny the DD's influence on the map. And if a DD can't influence the game, there's really very little reason to have them, because, torpedoes at an all-time low in hit chance, it's pretty much gun damage. There's plenty of radar. There's plenty of builds that involve strictly Stalingrads in Clan, and they are very effective because they just have overwhelming radar. They don't need a DD to do their job. And that would communicate to me that the DD is replaceable. And if the DD is replaceable, why wouldn't you replace it? Especially when there's a CV to be considered. If a CV's in the game, it sort of ruins that DD's ability to influence the game. I wish that the commander skills were complete garbage for AA. I understand why they are complete garbage. I just wish that it was a little bit more directly player controlled. If I want to dedicate my entire existence to at least mitigating the influence of the CV, I should be able to do that. But that option really isn't there. They can just continuously send one squadron towards my ship, have it recall, so they always have a squadron ready to go, and instantly recall that same squadron. There either needs to be some sort of squadron cooldown delay, so you actually have to wait before harassing, or you just have to switch to a different squadron. It's just beyond annoying to be a DD in a competitive game and to just be constantly refused the chance to play the game. Constantly. I just, it was always annoying when I had to deal with it, because I always knew who it was coming for. It was coming for me and me alone, and man, it was so annoying sometimes. I just had to watch as my team floundered, and there's nothing I could do because I'm being directly countered. So, not a good feeling, but there are other things to consider. Now, the 8 versus 8, that also contributes to the helpless feeling. I'm sure that they increased the size to allow for the CV to actually exist, because one of the criticisms was, with a 6 versus 6 roster, it's too easy for a CV player to directly focus another player and take him out of the whole game. Well, that still happens, but now in an 8 versus 8 game, there's less chance for you to save your star. It's much more out of your control because there's more ships on the map. It could take the entire 20 minutes for the game to be decided, and if you have influence from minute 1 all the way to minute 20, well, you're a really great player, but you're also pretty fortunate. And having 8 versus 8, it just exacerbated it further. It really felt like, boy, why are we still using Save the Star? I don't know why Wargaming loves it. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it simpler. It only infuriates me. It continues to infuriate me because it rewards the wrong type of play, first of all. You should not just be farming damage. You should be playing the objective. You should be killing targets. You should be helping your teammates. You should be using radar effectively, but it doesn't even consider that because it doesn't even know that. So all it ends up happening is who can farm the most damage and get the most kills. Look at all these enemy battleships at max range. They're just trying to survive long enough that they can farm damage. They're not using their health for their team, because the game doesn't encourage that. The game is encouraging them to save their star over everything else. So of course they're going to go in farm mode when they feel like the game is a loss. It's playing for yourself. It's playing around the save the star mechanic. I'm not blaming players for doing this. I am just telling you this is happening and it's annoying. Now, obviously, what can you do, right? Well, you could put as much effort into changing the rules so that players can appreciate the rank play as much as you do trying to get the CV into it. First of all, the save the star mechanic has never been good. It has never been perfect. And do you know why? I think I know this is sort of an epiphany. Do you know why? Well, guess what? If you are losing and you are the worst player on the losing side, you lose a star. If you're the best player, you save your star. Can you guess what happens to that same relationship on the winning side? Everyone gets a star, and there's no reward for being the one that actually helped your team earn it the most. Why is that? Why isn't there some sort of save the star currency that a skillful player can store up for all those games they win? This would help considerably keep the win-lose, make no progression feeling that rank ultimately ends up feeling for a lot of players. It would reduce that feeling for some of them because they would be very successful in some games to the point where they would actually have that star in their back pocket because they are on the team that wins. Like, why are we punishing players for doing well on the side that wins? Why can't we reward them just as much as we do the losing side? It would certainly make it feel more like a team effort. You know, everyone's collectively rising up and you're fighting tooth and nail for the last little bit of XP. And yeah, sure, I could see that where it switches from the most influential early game to the most influential later game, but it's XP, it's unbiased. It's going to be fair to whoever has the most influence. And it's just another incentive and another way of smoothing out some of the annoyances that still exist with rank play. And I just think that Wargaming should really consider it. It'll definitely keep me in the match longer and trying my best, even in a win, so that I can get that resource, that extra resource. You know, oh, well, shouldn't a win be enough? Yeah, it should, but it isn't. And since it isn't, we should look to address that and make sure that the player base is rewarded adequately for the effort that they expend. I really do feel this way about this particular topic. Everything else, you know, the aircraft carrier, the 8v8, even the battleship limit we haven't really talked too much about, but it's not that big of a deal. You know, the limitation is there because it's such a popular class, and quite frankly, a lot of Battleship players just don't know how to play the class to benefit their team the most. I don't really want to have a massive game of Battleship players and half of them not knowing anything to do for their team. I think 3 is a good number. It feels fair, and you know, it's almost 50% of the entire roster. I think that's fair. I didn't have any issue with that. But I have such a huge issue, and it's made even worse by the larger roster. Saving your star is harder, more frustrating, and it isn't as rewarding as it should be for the winning side. It feels like all your effort in a win is not even considered, and all of your effort in a loss is so punishing. So why can't we just turn it into a 50-50? If you're great on the winning side, you get the same benefit if you're great on the losing side. Getting that star for a rainy day, everyone has them. You're going to have a loss and you're not going to contribute the most. It just would be nice for all contribution to be considered throughout the entire rank season, not only your loss. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to check out more of my content, you can click the most recent or the most relevant uploads. You could also choose to subscribe to my channel. We do daily World of Warcraft videos, first impression, how-to, news, and review related. My North American recruit invite is on the screen. You can take advantage of that. I stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.